Hey, good morning. We are live. This is episode 112. If you've ever wanted to open a hotel, a brand new hotel, this episode is for you because I have my buddy, Mr. David Cronin. He's the general manager of the brand new W Hotel in Nashville. Let's get the show started. Hang on.
Hi, welcome to Hospitality Live with Rupesh, the hotel industry's top weekly resource for everything hospitality. Each week, you'll hear insights and the latest trends. Plus, get ready to be inspired by hotel leaders that are here to help you grow. Now, here's your host, Rupesh Patel.
What's up, everybody? This is episode 112. Guys, comment and let me know where you're watching from because this episode is super exciting. I've watched this gentleman work his butt off, work his tail off to get this hotel open, and I am super excited. Guys, comment and let me know where you're watching from. I know we have folks from all over the world, and today we're representing the W Hotel, especially the new one out of Nashville. We have the GM of the hotel, Mr. David Cronin, on. He's going to share the lessons he's learned. I think it's been like 2 years, maybe plus that. And I just watched him build this hotel from the ground up, following him on social media. I'm sure you have too. Guys, comment, let me know where you're watching from. And I know we have people from Ghana, Denver. Good morning, guys. Let's see. Pull you up on the screen. We have Cape Town in the house. Ghana in the house, Denver in the house, Charleston. I was just in Charleston over the past weekend, in and out. It was a quick trip for a wedding. Chicago's in the house. North Carolina's in the house. Singapore. This is a first. Singapore is in the house. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Comment and let me know where you're watching from. And I would love to learn if you've ever opened a hotel up from the ground up, or at least been the opening GM. Comment and let me know where your hotel was based out of, or what city. And guys, you're going to learn operational strategies that Mr. Cronin's going to share, team building, leadership, a lot of these things that we all use and need every single day. So guys, super excited. Comment. All right, we have Canada in the house. Love this. All right, this episode, you guys know it, is brought to you by smartguests.com. Somebody put that in the comments. Smartguests.com, with over 4,600 hotels now nationwide as clients. Smart Guests can help you with your operations, customer service, reviews, everything that your hotel needs as far as print collateral, digital tools. Smart Guests with an S at the end .com has the tools for you. Visit Smart Guests to get high quality print products, fast and free shipping. And like I said, over 4,600 hotels in the United States use Smart Guests to help their hotel improve. You can do the same. Bookmark smartguests.com. Thank you so much to Smart Guests for sponsoring this episode. And guys, every week I talk about a mindset. And let me see if I can pull it up. I just shared this. I don't think I can pull it up, but here's my mindset this week. I just want to see people happy and then also win in life. And I think that's a vibe when we're all trying to do 1,000 things at a time. Sometimes your friends aren't doing the same thing you are, which is fine. And you're just out there supporting people. And I think that's important as we all continue to grow. And I think it's a lesson that I, hold to myself as far as a mindset that, we're just rooting for each other. And if you can support somebody, I think it's super important, no matter if they're going on their ups, on the elevator up or the elevator down. And, there's ups and downs for everybody. And that's my mindset this week as far as I just want to see people thrive and win in life, no matter what you're doing. You don't have to compare yourself to somebody else. You're just doing your own thing. And I'm doing my own thing. And I love that. So that's my mindset this week. And every week we have Sarah Dandashy. She's still in, or actually she's flying all the way back from Germany. She did a European trip this past 2 weeks, and but she did record something. Let's get into the hospitality minute right now.
Hi, I'm Sarah Dandashy from Ask a Concierge. Every week, I'll be sharing the latest hospitality and travel news and updates in a segment we like to call Hospitality Minutes. Good morning, everyone. I'm in Berlin. Well, By the time you guys are watching this, I will actually be on a plane heading back to the States. But I wanted to go ahead and make sure to share with you guys this week's Hospitality Minute and not to miss it. So that being said, wanted to cover a couple of interesting things that are happening in the world of hospitality and also a little bit of an international flair, considering that, well, I happen to be international right now, and there's a lot of big news. So first topic that's coming up that actually affects all of us in the United States, big news announced on November 8th is that international travel is going to reopen for the U.S. as far as international travelers coming to the U.S. And what they have found, for example, travel websites like Kayak has actually found that there has been a spike of 48% of people looking to travel to the United States. So this is huge. By the way, for those of you that are not aware with this new announcement, on November 8th, the White House actually announced that fully vaccinated foreign nationals would once again be able to visit the country. Now, there are some specific rules in regards to that, but that is huge. And for those individuals, certainly being here in Europe, as I have been for the past 10 days, this is big news. Every single person that I have spoken to internationally is like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to travel back to the United States. And why is that important for people like us and certainly our businesses? International travel is a good amount of our business. So this is huge. November 8th is definitely a big day, and a lot of people are looking forward to that. So really sort of interesting to see how that change has definitely led to a spike. Now, interestingly enough, I kind of thought this was kind of cool. A little bit of a discussion of the rise in contactless amenities. Now, I wanted to go ahead and share this naturally. As we all know, there has been this shift for contactless amenities over the past year and a half, certainly even before that as well too. But the pandemic has seemed to really accelerated the adoption of contactless amenities. What am I talking about? Contactless, mobile check-in and check-out, even ordering room service, things like that. And of course, there has always been this discussion as far as, well, how much can hotels still deliver that same warmth, that same hospitality if everything's contactless? So that's definitely been a big thing. But I wanted to share, actually, there are a cool few properties that are doing something interesting, and would love to hear, are you all at your properties doing something interesting more than the usual mobile check-in and check-out, etc.? So the Hyatt-centric South Park in Charlotte, North Carolina, has a plant adoption program to kind of bring a bit of fresh air to any guest room. So guests can actually choose a plant from display in the lobby and name them and then have it sent to their room. Always really cool when they're doing something like that. Then there's also the Spectator Hotel, which is in Charleston. They've actually created this contactless shopping experience with 2 local boutiques. So before a guest actually comes on property, they're able to go kind of shopping online. They'll actually bring the items to the room, which is, again, a really cool way to bring this sort of contactless special touch to the hotel experience. But now, as we're talking about all of this, pretty interesting, Hoshino Resorts, which is a Japanese hospitality brand with over 30 properties, is actually going to be adopting a program that lets guests know how many individuals are in any of the hotel's public spaces. So that's also really interesting as well too. How many of us have been somewhere and been like, well, I'd like to go down to maybe like the lobby bar, but I don't know how busy this is. It is. So, this program will actually allow travelers to be able to do that. Now, that being said, obviously a lot of interesting stuff happening in travel. But wanted to just cover those topics for today. That is it for today's Hospitality Minute. Looking forward to joining you guys live and in person next week. Have an amazing show today. Definitely some good stuff to follow. And if you happen to be following me along online, especially on Instagram, a lot more to come. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Follow Sarah at Ask a Concierge everywhere. Thank you so much, Sarah. She has a huge following on almost every channel as far as social media. All right, so this is the time you guys have been waiting for. I'm going to bring my buddy on. He's been on plenty of times. This is Mr. David Cronin. He's the general manager of the brand new W Nashville. And I just had some friends stay over the past weekend. They loved it. I'm going to share how they opened and how to open. Let's bring him on. Hey, David.
Good morning. Hi, Rupesh.
How are
Good
you?
to be on. Thanks for having me.
I hear that you guys are just busy trying to get this hotel open, and now it's open. And what's the sentiment? What's the reaction from guests and the city?
So it's been really well received by the community. We do have some destination restaurants. One of those opened 2 weeks ago, as did the hotel, 2 weeks ago today, actually. The Dutch, which is a collaboration with Andrew Carmelini out of New York, and been really, really well received. And we also had the last 2 weekends, one was a Rolling Stones concert, and just this weekend we had a big football game in town, so hotels were at capacity. So it was great to see that, really great to see that. And customers are loving some of the local touches that we have throughout the hotel.
Now, I've watched you build this hotel from the ground up, and you've been there ever since the last time we spoke, and even prior to that. How long has it taken this hotel to open up?
So this hotel has been on paper over 7 years in the making, and the architect has been on for 5 years. And I got here probably about 14 months ago to open the pre-opening office to start the first hires. It's been under construction for over 2 years, and here we are.
Yeah, and we're talking about how to open a hotel, and you're going to share some of the lessons that you've learned as we go through, the start. And before we do that, I want to share your Instagram story or your Instagram profile, because you shared a lot of the process of actually going through the opening process of bringing stuff in, planning with the developers, planning with the city, planning with designers, architects. Like, you dealt with so many different parts of the hotel, including getting your hands dirty in putting rooms together, right? And some of the public spaces together. Here's David's profile real quick on Instagram, and you can follow him it's _style_dude. But he shared his entire story of opening the hotel, sharing kind of what he went through with stories and like pictures and videos. And it's been amazing to see you build this team. And even this video here where, you had a party. What was this about?
So the luxury hotels within our group do a 2-week countdown, and that was day one of welcoming in the hourly talent that we're about to get immersed in W hotels and also luxury hospitality. So that was the energy level in the lobby. Keep in mind, the hotel was not open to the public. Sure. So they were being trained, and we were about to kick off a big event upstairs in the great room.
Yeah, and I see that you guys did a lot of cool things as you prepped to open this hotel. All right, so I'm going to share some pictures as we're talking. We're talking about the 10 lessons learned that you learned as you opened this hotel and really saw it come up from pretty much the ground up as far as, the development side of things. Let's get started with the 10. What is one thing that you learned as far as opening a hotel up?
So I would start with, which is, I think, front and center for everyone now, especially now, is talent. And I really think that you've got to hire the best director of talent, director of human resources, whatever your group calls it, HR manager, that you can find that fits your culture. And every hotel will be a little different. Every hotel fills a different, need within the market. For me, I actually went outside of our company and brought somebody in who had many, many years in lifestyle. And she's really the reason behind that strong culture that we are creating. So I think even with the larger hotel group, sometimes there'll be some succession planning in place. But I would say to every GM is you've really got to hold the line on that. It's absolutely critical that you have the right fit for that position.
Right. And we're talking about talent, talking about hiring. Has it been a challenge for you? I know it has nationwide for other GMs. What was a challenge that you kind of faced as you were trying to build this big team of hospitality people with this culture?
It's unprecedented. I don't think any of us have ever really seen anything like this. Obviously, 9/11 was challenging for us, for our industry, but this is unprecedented. People are calling it the big migration. People that are just leaving jobs. I mean, many of us are really not sure what they're doing, but that is a reality. They're just leaving industries, not just hospitality. And another point that I'd like to make, a key learning for me, was really audition every single manager. And here at W Nashville, we have about 55 in total. So, if you factor in 20 auditions roughly for each position, some less, obviously, because you find the right fit right away. That's a lot of auditions, but I think that's really well worth the time. You're hiring for attitude, and there's a lot of people out there. And I think that sets the tone, right? So you start with the director of talent, and then it's all of the department heads and your executive committee, and you just really, really need to try to find the right individual. So I would say, one of the key things for me is to be involved in each and every single one of those auditions.
Right. And auditions, for folks that don't know, is the W calls it auditions. It's basically an interview, maybe a little bit more in depth of an interview as far as understanding their background, what they're really interested in, because it's not only what you do for me, but what are you passionate about? How are you going to make that experience amazing for guests? And is that what you guys look at when you're doing that interview process, the audition?
Yeah, there's a multiple fold. There's behavioral analysis that people do. And that's an assessment that you take basically on the, on your computer. There's a lifestyle assessment for us as a lifestyle brand. But then there's also a strategic series of questions. But then I like to also spend some time with someone. And sometimes I've actually gone back 3 times with a few managers that we have hired, some were local, where I was maybe on the fence. But then we decided, yes, let's hire them. Or maybe it's not a right fit for them, not just for us, but for them. As we were going through this process. So a lot of time was spent on that.
Right. Was there people that you interviewed, or were there people that you interviewed that you're like, they're coming in for this position, but however, they would be the perfect fit for this other position? Did that happen during?
It did. It's happened actually. Yeah, it's happened several times, and it's gone in both ways. It's gone up where we placed them in a higher position, and where we placed them in a lower position than what they were seeking, but felt that was a better fit for them, and definitely have a plan in place to grow their careers. So both of those have happened. I think the key takeaway is, given how tight it is with talent, all options should be on the table.
Right. That's a mindset or definitely a strategy for all GMs watching and leaders watching, where, you have somebody come in and they're looking for this housekeeping position, but you know what? They have great communication skills. They have this amazing smile, and they could be that person that's guest facing for maybe the front office, right? Or the front desk, or even in F&B. So I like that option. All right. So what else did you learn as you're building the W Nashville, and you've really just taken to heart?
Yeah. So I'll shift gears for just a moment and talk about the model room. I think most brands, and even independent hotels that are being built will have a model room. And it's key to spend a lot of time in the model room, solicit feedback. A couple of things that we took out of the model room, for example, was the USB ports. Everybody's putting them in, but ours were actually on the surface. And, after spending time in there, we were able to move those because some of the furniture had not been fabricated yet. So they're not on the surface. So you don't run the risk of a drink or a glass of water spilling into it. So just things like that, you've got to try to sit in there as you start hiring people, and use that customer lens. And, is this customer friendly? Does this make sense? Could we move something around?
Right. And for folks that don't know, if you've never built a hotel or opened a hotel, most brands and a lot of developers build out one room, even if it's on property or off property, and they put everything in that room's going to look like when it's finished, including sometimes running water, just so they get the entire experience, including power. And they test the model. So who did you test it with? Did you test it with off the street guests or your team? How did that work?
Yeah, so ours was actually offsite in a pre-opening office. The project was not far along enough to do it in the hotel. And it was also deep in COVID. So you didn't have a lot of people visiting the office, the few that we had. So it was really just myself, the first few hires, director of engineering, director of talent, director of revenue management, that spent time in that space, just looking at it, thinking about it, and then working closely with the project designers and the architects. So that part is also key, that relationship, so you have the ability to make those changes along with the developer, of course.
Right. And how long was that for that model room to kind of get developed and finalized before you guys actually purchased the furniture or the FF&E or built out rooms? Yeah,
that model room was likely, I want to say it was actually there before I got to Nashville. So I would likely say it was probably about, a year and a half prior. And, while some of the furniture had been ordered, it had not been manufactured or built out. So those little changes were very easy to make. Another change that we made in the hallway is this hotel is also indicative of really sets a tone for a new direction that W is taking from a design standpoint. And so if you've stayed at a W hotel prior, you'll notice that the hallways are pretty dark. And we've grown up. We've been around now for 22 years, and our customers are growing up. And so there's definitely a focus on more lighting and lighter hallways. So we were able to add these concrete accented columns with additional light in the hallways. So you're not searching for your, room number on the wall or your room key with a flashlight.
Yeah, I remember staying at the W in New York, and it was really dark in there.
Yeah.
And fortunately, it was fun because we were there for a party. But I could understand that as that segment gets older, they want a brighter room. Maybe they want to be. It's more of a safety thing too for any guest, right? Definitely. All right, so you're building this hotel. You're going through the process. You have a model room now finalized. What are some other lessons that you learned as you're opening this hotel as a GM?
Yeah, so one thing that we did that I thought was really good is in the pre-opening office, we did an idea board. And basically we painted the wall where you could just chalk on it, right? So in our conference room. And we would write things down as they came to mind. Some were good ideas, some were bad ideas, but really no idea is a bad idea. Let's just say some were, we were able to execute, some were not, right? But, one example is we have a coffee partnership with a local coffee company called the Barista Parlor. And he'll have 8 units shortly, but it's all local. It's all Nashville. And one of the things that we had looked at doing and will do, we should, in the next couple of weeks, bring that to life, hopefully, is a coffee courier. And that was an idea that one person thought about, gosh, in the room, what if we could deliver, instead of in-room dining, which we have as well, but if you wanted a latte with 2 shots of, whatever it is, and how can you get that without some of the charges that luxury hotels have? And how can you get that same coffee without having to go downstairs for it? So we came up with that biker in New York City, the bike courier, and somebody knocks on your door and here's your coffee. And so that was just one of the many, many ideas that ended up on our idea board.
Right. That's awesome. So we've done this in the past where we have I called it a free day. And basically we sit in a room or out in a restaurant or out in some venue where we don't have a plan for anything. You ever have those days where I call it free day, I don't know what you call it, but there's days where our leadership just thinks freely of ideas that can improve or move the line or the notch up on service, on, operations, on marketing, on customer, anything.
Right.
Do you have those days? This idea board kind of sounds like that.
Yeah, very similar. Obviously here, not yet, because we've just opened and things are definitely a bit hectic, and especially given the staffing shortages and whatnot, really trying to get people some time off as we've just opened. But in the past, I think it is sometimes if you have a weekly meeting, instead of people going into a conference room, you would take them into a completely different setting that they're not expecting. So very similar to what you're saying. And that really kind of jumpstarts that creativity, starts everything flowing.
Yeah, and I think it gives people the opportunity to share their ideas and be listened to instead of just saying, do this, do that. And I think that's definitely a leadership habit that you're great at because you get a lot of feedback from everybody on the team to really share their ideas. All right, so as you're opening up, you have ideas on the table. You're trying to open this hotel up in time. What are some other lessons that you learned?
Yeah, so I found LinkedIn is very, very powerful for connections, and we made several hires through LinkedIn. And so it really, as a platform, I think has been game changing. So if you're not on it, I would encourage people to be on it. There's absolutely no cost to it. And I find it much more effective than some others that you do pay for. I think it's important, especially going through the pandemic, to stay connected with people and then also to try to respond to people. So obviously throughout a pandemic like this, the number of requests and job seekers unprecedented, especially from some other countries. And I think it's also, it's important to be a good person and try to respond, even if it's short, instead of ignoring people. But that in turn has also definitely assisted us to fill multiple positions, people that have moved here just through an initial connection on LinkedIn. So I really think that that is an amazing tool, and always surprises me when I speak to some people and they say, no, I'm not really on that. Should I get on it? Absolutely, you should. Yeah,
100%. This is live on LinkedIn, which is my main platform. And the reason why I have all these opportunities is because of LinkedIn. So if you see me at a conference, if you see me somewhere, I'm flying out to Portland next week because of LinkedIn. And if you're not on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn, I love that you say that because it's a two-way street. It's not just a one-way, like I want, but you have to give too. So if someone's looking for something, guess what? You may not have the idea or you may not have the knowledge, but guess what? You might be connected to somebody. This is what, David, I think you're talking about is, maybe you don't have that position available for them, but maybe your neighbor does. And guess what? Now your neighbor remembers you for the next time or down the road when you need something or they need something, that you have that connection. I think that's what LinkedIn's about. It's about the two-way street of making connections, basically, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. So on LinkedIn, did you actually post a job, or was it just your connections?
So I posted all jobs. We're opening on 1111 Carney Mare, which is another concept with Andrew Carmelini, our signature restaurant. And I just posted that last night, for example. If you want to, if anyone wants to take a look, those are my marketing manager puts those graphics together. And we do get a lot of responses based upon those posts. It costs us nothing. And we're in a unprecedented time for hiring. So, it literally takes you 3-4 minutes to post something.
Absolutely. I'm going to see if I can find one of those posts on your Instagram. But I love it that you have somebody that can really help, drive eyes. And like you said, it's free.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't beat free when you're talking about trying to make things happen as far as
That's great.
A free channel that is helping you market. All right, let's see if I can pull it up real quick and share here it is. So here's his post yesterday, and you probably have a lot of views on this, and it gives you a call to action too. It's not just like apply. It's not just like, here we're hiring, but there is a call to action on what to do, when to do it, and all those things. So I love that you're using LinkedIn for what it's meant to be. And visually, I like that you're posting not just a job, but not just the link. You're posting visuals so that people can see themselves in this career, right?
Yeah, the visuals are key, and we've actually done something a bit unprecedented here, but we've also put the rates on there and the fact that we're doing a bonus until service kicks in. So, like I said, you just you can't leave any stone unturned right now when you're hiring. So.
Absolutely, guys. I would love to hear your comments from the folks that are watching. Do you use LinkedIn for a channel to hire people or to make connections? I would love to learn which way you're using LinkedIn for. All right, what are some other lessons that you've learned as we try to? I know you're busy, so we're trying to knock this out real quick and share.
Yeah, so I think for us, being it for the long game, if you have a destination hotel that has perhaps some signature restaurants, the importance of building these restaurants. So we just opened a Dutch with Andrew Carmelini, and we had the business in town to fill that restaurant multiple times, where we did not open the patio because we wanted to make sure that that's the Dutch right there. That's the interior dining room. We wanted to make sure that we, could offer great service. And so on Sunday, we took it up to, I think we did almost 300 covers, but we could have taken 500 is my point. But would they have had a good experience? No. I went to a competitor hotel yesterday. They've just reopened for lunch, and I had to ask 4 times if I could place an order. And it took literally, I watched tables, took them 40 minutes to place an order. So you've got to be in it for the long game, because your reputation is hard to establish. And I think that's just really important, especially right now. I know staffing is tough, but think about your restaurants and the prices that we charge and be in it for the long game.
What else?
I think building a close relationship with the project manager, developer, designers, we discussed that briefly, but and also the superintendent on site, the person that oversees the construction team. It's really a team effort, and you're going to be working with them for 1.5 to 2 years. So any changes that you need or things that need to get done, if you don't have that relationship, it's not going to happen. Knowing your market and where you want to be positioned. We have 8 bars and 4 eateries. So for us, it's really about Nashvillians and then about hotel guests. Hotel guests, we say, get insider access, but our restaurants and bars will not succeed unless we nail it within the local market. So listening to those customers, I remember very early on meeting with somebody who's a CEO here and said, hey, listen, I don't like to pay more than $13 for a cocktail. And typically hotels are maybe 16 to 18. And so our cocktails are priced starting at 13. He said, make sure you have light beer. That's the thing here in Nashville in your bars. So, it depends on what your strategy is. But for us, that was really important in speaking with a lot of locals in the community. I think the local credibility on that point, local partnerships are crucial. So when you walk through our hotel, we are a New York brand. Nashville is very proud and very authentic. It's a very interesting city. So for us, we partner with a lot of these local artisans. When you walk into our guest elevators, we call them lifts. There's a leather panel on the back that says W. There was a local artist that did the impression, and a local leather artisan called Joseph Brazil with Lachlan Leather, who actually did the stitching. We have local murals. We have Kelsey Montague, who's done a mural here, The Wings, which is always on Instagram. Well, she did a mural outside of our hotel. Brian Deese did a mural of Jimi Hendrix because Jimmy learned how to play guitar here in Nashville. And the list goes on and on. We've got a light fixture on the rooftop bar from Gordon DeCour, who's also local. So just working with all these local artisans has been incredible.
Yeah, this is your rooftop bar, right?
That's our rooftop bar, Proof, exactly. And it's called Proof because of all the Jim Marshall proof sheets.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And is this connected to the outside, the rooftop outside?
It does. There's literally a bar inside. That's the inside bar. And then there's a bar outside and a almost 360-degree walk around with seating as well. So that bar, as soon as we opened, was packed. So obviously that is, and Nashville is all about rooftops. So it's been really well received.
That's cool. And it's mostly locals, right?
Mostly locals. Yeah, mostly locals. And, we're surrounded by condos, and in the Gulch in Nashville is where our hotel is, higher end apartment buildings. And so we've had a lot of those residents come in, eat in our restaurant, bring their dogs in. We're very pet friendly, come into the barista parlor, go to the rooftop, listen to music in the living room. So, yeah.
That is awesome. Anything else that you've learned as you're opening this hotel? Any challenges?
Yeah. So, the one thing that I wouldn't mention, and I think it's actually getting worse before it gets better, is supply chain. Now, on one sense, we were a little lucky because the hotel had been planned out and a lot of this stuff had been ordered ahead of time. But the supply chain is just really, really putting people in a tough position. I mean, I think today I've heard that if you buy a new car, they give you one key for the car because they don't have enough chips. We have a really tight protocol around computers. But our IT people are actually considering other vendors and seeing how can they get those on board, because you can't order, you can't find anything. There's nothing there. So I think the key takeaway is, as you look at your needs, try to plan way ahead as much as you can. I mean, you see it too when you want to rent a car or anything like that. Prices have gone up because they've gotten rid of some of their fleet. So it's just, it's really all across the board, but just planning. All
right. So planning, getting your project in line on time. Yeah. How does that happen, especially when you're building a beautiful hotel like the W?
Yeah.
What does it do what do you do to maintain that time?
It's the on time. For example, we open later. I think on time is very difficult right now for several reasons. COVID obviously impacted it. Weather can impact it. Pouring concrete, etc. And then supply chain is unreal. And then just labor force, because it's also impacted construction. So be prepared when you look at your opening and you have a hard date. Let's say, for example, in May, you might be prepared and speak with all the stakeholders. It might be July. It might be August. And try to be as strategic as you can. But things will happen. And in this environment, more than ever, you have to be able to pivot very, very quickly. It really is. I keep using the same term, but it's unprecedented. We've never dealt with this before.
Absolutely. And, GMs and owners and developers across the nation, worldwide, are dealing with the same exact thing.
Correct.
Everything's delayed, which, you have to be flexible as the leader of your hotel and your opening. You have to be flexible with a lot of different things and have that flexibility of that mindset too, of like, we got this, we're going to keep going. And I love that we have like plan A, B, C, D for a lot of different things, right?
Always a backup. Yeah, always a backup.
Well, Mr. David Cronin, this is amazing. What do you love? Last question. What do you love about Nashville? You've been there for over a year now, or 14 months now.
Almost 14 months, yeah.
Yeah. What do you love about Nashville?
I think what I love about Nashville and what I find incredible is this authenticity. It's not, if someone hasn't been here, you think that it's cowboy hats and cowboy boots and country music. And, obviously there's a lot of country music. But for example, we're right across the street from the Station Inn, which is blues music. And it's actually where Dierks Bentley got a start. He started out by cutting the grass before there was any gulch, before these buildings were built. And the Station Inn has been around since the early 70s. But what I love about Nashville is all these, whether it's, Brian or Joseph or any of these local artisans, they're so welcoming. It's so genuine. And these people are so talented. It's incredible. I mean, the first time I met with Joseph out at his workshop, I was getting an Uber to come back I was actually living in a hotel here. And he was like, no, I'll drive you home. And, we had made no commitments. And I was like, really? No, don't worry about it. He drove me home. I mean, back to the hotel. But, it's just, there's such a sense of pride in what people do. And yes, almost every second person, once you hear their story, is actually a musician. So, the number of musicians here and that skill and that talent, I wish I could play something, but I can't, it's unreal. So it's a great, great city. And right. You see a lot of celebrities here and nobody is hounding them. They'll be across the table from you in a restaurant and people are like, oh, cool, that's so-and-so. Okay. So it's the other side of LA.
Yeah, I love that. I love Nashville. It's a fun city. And I love Nashville hot chicken. Is that one of your favorites too? I love spicy food.
It is a thing. Prince's hot chicken. That's correct. Or Hattie B's. Yes. So it is a thing. So if one comes to Nashville, definitely experience it.
Well, I cannot wait to visit your hotel, stay at your hotel, eat at or drink at 8 different bars. Can we do a bar crawl from every single bar and then end up at 4 of your eateries?
Definitely. You've got one for every night, or as my Irish family would say, let's do them all in one night.
That is my game. That's my game plan. All in one night. Mr. David Cronin, thank you so much. It's a pleasure connecting with you again on a live show. Where can people find you and your hotel?
Well, I am usually in the hotel, in the public spaces or bars or restaurants. That's what I love to do. That's why I got in this business, talking to customers. Yes, sometimes there's some necessary office time, but you'll usually find me walking around the hotel.
This guy is a celebrity in his own right. Please connect with him on LinkedIn, Mr. David Cronin. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon and see you soon.
Take care, Rupesh. Look forward to it. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye. That was awesome, guys. If you learned anything, actually, you probably learned a lot of different things, including finding the right talent. We talked about the model room. We talked about LinkedIn. You're connecting with your supervisor as you're building the hotel. I hope that you learned something out of this conversation that could keep you going and be excited about maybe getting an opportunity to open up your own hotel or your group's hotel. And I love that. So guys, thank you so much. If you love this episode, hit the like button and comment that you did enjoy it, and give Mr. David Cronin a connect on LinkedIn. And Jan says she does love the Hattie's chicken, the spicy chicken. And, I love that too. So guys, thank you so much. Please take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Next couple of weeks, I have some amazing people on, so stay tuned. Every Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, we share a live conversation with somebody amazing in the hospitality space that can help you grow your business, grow your mindset, get inspired, all of those fun things that we love to do, and keep it going, guys. Until then, talk to you next week. And by the way, go to rupesh.co/show and enter your name and email so you get notified for the next time we go live with our special guest. And by the way, we're giving away some cool stuff coming up, and be a part of all of that. Here we go. See you later.